Ceasefire inches forward, but who's who in that really again? Introducing a temporary government in Ukraine should be discussed. Vlad Putin claims that now. Ain't that beautiful? Now, Glenn Grant, a former lieutenant colonel in the British Army, served in nuclear deterrence units, so we talk about nukes, amongst other things. Good afternoon, my name is Henry Keane, and we are UATV English, an English-speaking Ukrainian state media in constant persuasion, as you can see, to deliver hard truth in easy terms for the whole free world, for you, directly from Ukraine. After 3 days of separate intensive discussions with the United States, Russia and Ukraine, left the latest round of ceasefire talks in Saudi Arabia. We all know about that, with agreements to declare a limited ceasefire in the Black Sea, whatever that means, and halt strikes against energy facilities. While lauded by the White House as progress, United States President Donald Trump's pledge to bring a swift end to Russia's full-scale invasion, it is still a long way from a full ceasefire and an end to the fighting. Ukraine already agreed to US proposed full 30-day ceasefire, saying on March 11th that Kyiv was ready to take such a step if Russia also agreed to the same terms. Russia, of course, has refused. In response to the March 11th US-backed ceasefire agreement, the Kremlin demanded an all-new package, a halt to American military aid to Ukraine, limits on the size of the Ukrainian army, and that Kyiv just ends mobilization, well, which is a clear surrender. And the Kremlin knows that and demands exactly that, knowing that Ukraine will never accept it. And Ukrainian people will fight with their bare hands if necessary. As Ukrainian people did that 3 years back in the day when they had nothing, no weapons, no support, no partners, and they survived. Obviously, Russia has since intentionally stalled talks for a ceasefire or peace deal, hoping to seize additional Ukrainian land and gain leverage, while it believes it has a strong hand on the battlefield. Is that the case or not? That I don't know, but after 3 days of separate intensive discussions with the United States, Russia and Ukraine, just as I said, the latest round of ceasefire talks in Saudi Arabia ended with agreements to declare a limited ceasefire in the Black Sea and to halt strikes against energy facilities. So, the two separate deals struck March 25th on maritime and energy attacks could be the first major breakthrough in negotiations. However, it is still unclear how the deals will be carried out and whether the sides will stick to the agreements. Well, according to the two separate White House agreements, all parties on March 25th agreed to, I quote, ensure safe navigation, eliminate the use of force, and prevent the use of commercial vessels for military purposes in the Black Sea and other blah, blah, blah. Why I say blah, blah, blah? Because everyone who has eyes can see that the deal favors Russia, particularly because of the concessions made to Russia and the absolute absence of protection for Ukrainian port infrastructure, while for Russia,
the United States will help restore Russia's access to the world market for agricultural and fertilizer exports, lower maritime insurance costs, and enhance access to ports and payment systems for such transactions. The White House.
Well, I'm sorry to break it to you like that, but what does Ukraine get? So far, we are losing land, including what's under it, precious subsoil minerals, as new Trump's deal on it, that is a complete and irreversible criminal extortion. Same as Putin's, just not military yet. And while trying to appease those two outdated monstrosities in power, Trump in America and Putin in Russia, we in Ukraine are losing something way more precious and rare than all rare earth altogether. Our people, our children are killed every day, our civilians, our soldiers, and we are losing time. We're not seeing how this is a ceasefire, as we see only fire. In Kharkiv, in Kherson, Kyiv, Kryvyi Rih, and many other cities of Ukraine, people die, while Trump and Putin are playing damn emperors. And when asked by a reporter on March 25th whether he believes Russia wants to see an end to this full-scale war, Trump said this.
I don't know. I mean, I'll let you know at a certain point, but I think that Russia wants to see an end to it, but it could be that they're dragging their feet. Donald Trump, President of the United States.
Well, here's the hard truth in easy terms for you. Putin spits into Trump's face right now as you're watching this. And not only he gets away with this, he totally controls White House with cheap and efficient means, satisfying enormous Trump's ego with simple and cheap tools like that portrait by mediocre Russian artist hand delivered by ignorant Witkoff. Two narcissists, Trump by a dictator and a murderer Putin. What an unholy trinity in action indeed. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin went off the rails.
A temporary government should be introduced in Ukraine to hold new elections. It is still not clear with whom to sign certain documents, and it is still not clear what power they have, because tomorrow other leaders will come through elections. Russian dictator Vladimir Putin.
Through elections! Elections! Well, look, Vlad, this is actually how normal countries get their governments, right? Through elections. We know it's not a case in Russia anymore, it never was, as you have rewritten the constitution, and now it is called a prostitution, as all you do is a pro, right, Vlad? And another pro in town these days, but in America. Trump's administration dismissed Putin's proposal for now. A White House National Security Council spokesperson dismissed the proposal, emphasizing that Ukraine's governance is determined by its constitution. Original one, not like in Russia, and its people. Ukrainian presidential advisor Dmytro Litvin suggested that if Putin struggles to understand who to engage with for peace talks, he might need some pills to kickstart his brain activity. But I doubt that helps, as Putin is not an idiot, you know? He's a monster. And when he proposes something that's stupid, it may be not that stupid, maybe just a plan. It might work properly, by the way, with Trump's extortion deal for Ukraine. Like, all those Ukrainians, they do not want to be robbed by America and killed by Russia for some reason. So it is obvious that they do not want peace. And that's it. Well, you know, maybe yes. Maybe we do not want that kind of peace. As it is no peace. It is worse than a war. It's when two old megalomaniacs, morbid militant ignoramuses, Trump and Putin, are tearing our country apart. We choose war exactly when we see that there is no other choice. We're not given a choice. It's either we die fighting or literally, without any exaggeration, become slaves of these two bloody madmen who have gone completely unhinged from the absolute power and permissiveness, while Europe scratches its collective ass and uses it to pass out a creative gas to name the coalition. Is it the coalition of the willing? Or coalition of resolute? Or maybe this is a coalition of koalas in the hope that China will slide to it, if not with the truth, then at least with some common sense. And that common sense these days is Putin is a maniac and morbid liar and a murderer. Trump actually needs to look closer on that oil on canvas that Putin sent him. It's not oil, it's Ukrainian blood. Glenn Grant, a former lieutenant colonel in the British Army. Mr. Grant, sir, thanks for joining.
Nice to be here. Nice to be here, sir.
So let me just count it for you. So there is no ceasefire. There is no minerals deal, as this is an extortion, obviously. There are Russian missiles and bombs every day, and our children and soldiers and civilians die. Not to mention soldiers on the front line, of course. I've recently watched an interview with the former Soviet minister who lives in America today, well, of course. So he said, Ukraine should get itself a nuclear weapon now and not listen to anyone. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, I think before we get a nuclear weapon, because it's going to take a few years.
Yeah.
More importantly, it's to actually to sort out the whole defense system. I mean, going back to what you just said about, the war is continuing. There's no peace. I mean, the deal from the deal from Trump is frankly I call it the USA deal of shame, because I don't think in modern times any country
No.
in any country has ever asked another country to do something like that.
Well, he's not
I mean,
asking,
it's
Mr.
actually
Grant. Pardon me, my intrusion.
no, he's
not-
threatening.
He's
He's
extorting.
threatening.
Yeah, exactly. He's threatening.
Bullying and extorting, bullying and threatening.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's disgusting. I'm sorry, but it's disgusting. But I mean, what it does, I mean, what it does do is it brings you forward to your question of do we need nuclear? Well, what you're saying is, do we need a nuclear deterrent? But it's too late for that now, for this war. There is no question. Now, maybe afterwards, because there are lots of countries now that are going to say,
Right.
we cannot rely on US.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, what I would say is USA is not Trump. Trump is not USA.
That is right.
And
That is-
the activities in US are bringing out an awful lot of world-class people who have been quiet. And it's going to bring a lot more of them to the fore in the coming weeks, because I think that Signalgate is just the start of the nonsense. I don't think that is the end. I think that once a lot of those people, especially in Congress, actually hear about the deal of shame, then there's going to be a lot more unhappiness, because they will realize that they are shamed with this. And I hope that we can get it into Congress and to any other good state in America where the governor is real and human, so that we actually get some political strength behind Ukraine about this deal, because it's disgusting.
Well, it is disgusting.
But we don't have time for don't have time for nuclear now, but we do have time, and we must still put the country on war footing. It's still not on war footing. I mean, just look at Kyiv. Kyiv's not on a war footing. I'm not against people enjoying themselves. If you're going to go and die next week, you might as well enjoy yourself this week. But when people are not going to die next week because they're not even involved in the war at all, or they're not doing anything, then that is a different matter altogether. So the country has got to get itself onto war footing. And that does, I'm sorry, but I've said it many times, it means using better people.
Exactly.
That the idea of just having your cronies and your friends doing stuff is just not good enough. It's not, it doesn't
Well,
work.
that's the Soviet paradigm is still here. That's what I see. I mean, friends are all around, and this is totally wrong. It's a dead end, literally, might be even. So,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, and the answer to that has been given by you in our previous interviews. You said it clearly as a professional, that brigades, commanders that know what they are doing, somewhere in the middle, not the top, not at the level, not at the soldiers level, but officers who've been through the actual fighting on the front line should actually command it, and the office of the president should listen to them, maybe listen more than they do now.
Listen more, yeah.
But let me change the
remove-
question. Yeah, I mean that's Signalgate.
Change the question.
Yeah, Signalgate. I mean, I don't know even where to start. I mean, Witkoff was there in Moscow, obviously,
Yes.
opening this chat,
Yes,
a national security chat with 18 most powerful men on earth, actually disclosing this information. And my question is, whatever that means, I know this is bad and negligence and so on, but if America is at war this day, do you believe that soldiers and admirals and generals like General Clark, or I don't know, Ben Hodges, or colonels, your level, would follow Hexit? I know you're British Army, but anyway, I mean the officers would follow Hexit rules and orders?
I think the answer to that is yes, because it's
Right.
America.
Well,
Because I think that they are less political than perhaps many of my British colleagues would be or would have been. They're not so used to arguing with their bosses. I mean, I can give you many examples where I've gone in, I put my heel, as we say, put our heels together, stand to attention, and say, "Sir, I disagree with that," and argue. And I, as a major, I went in to see the 4-star and argued about one of his decisions. And he, I mean, he basically said, well, that's my decision. We're sticking with it. It's political. Get out, sort of thing. But then I saluted nicely. And as I left, I said, but you're still wrong, sir. Now,
Really?
I
So,
very
what,
much doubt
oh,
that
no, no,
many
no.
of
What
my-
happened afterwards? What happened afterwards? To your career? Nothing happened?
He
nothing...
told my boss, no, nothing happened to me. I mean, he told my boss I was a real monster. He said, how do you manage
Right,
to work
okay.
with him? He's a real monster.
Monster.
And that with respect, I have to say, with respect. And I never had any problems with him dealing or talking to him afterwards. He always used to smile at me and say, because
Right.
I'm going to say that Ben Hodges has said it a couple of times in interviews and things, that you need officers with who can understand when you have to disobey orders and who have the moral courage to do so. And I don't see so much of that in the US Army as perhaps I might. But I do know that there are many lawyers in and around America who have been approached by members of the armed forces asking clearly, what is an illegal order?
Wow.
So I think there are people who are clearly concerned about, Canada and Greenland, of whether those orders are actually, what looks as though it's going to come. I mean, I would shudder if I thought that people were actually planning those operations. But I have a sneaky suspicion they may be. Planning them without resigning. That's the thing, is planning them without resigning. Resign first and say, no, sir, I cannot be party to this. Sort of thing. I'm going to find a job out in civilian life. Good day. If you want to invade Canada, do so without me. And that sort of thing, that worries me. I mean, the paradigm with America has changed so much that it is almost unbelievable as it is at the moment. And I worry slightly because, I mean, I saw that the three Baltic, foreign ministers went to America, and they're all standing next to Rubio full of smiles and saying, what a good relationship we have. Great. I hope they told him in private, this is disgusting and you shouldn't be acting like this.
I don't think so.
I don't know whether they did. I don't know, but I hope that they did, because what America is doing is beyond the pale, actually, at the moment.
Well, exactly as you said, it's not America. These people are doing that to America, and this is what will be the problem for another administration to solve. A whole lot of problem, tons of it. So, but for now, Trump, do you believe that Trump is losing or will be losing influence by being unable to negotiate a ceasefire with Russia? Because Putin is spitting...
No, he's lost influence. He's got no influence with Russia. He gave up all his influence things before he even started. I mean, there has been no negotiation with Russia about Ukraine. Let's be blunt about it. There's no negotiation. There's just, that's what you want. Put it on a list. We'll take it to Ukraine. Because there's not a single compromise from Russia at all. Not one.
Yeah, exactly.
Not one single tiny compromise. That not we'll give you back this, or we'll pull back, or we won't do this. I mean, what they're saying, we're not going to attack your energy facilities. So what do? They bomb houses instead and schools. I mean, that's not a compromise. That's just a switch of targeting for 5 minutes. But what did they get in reply? In opposition? They got Ukraine promising not to attack them. But it was Ukraine that was doing the best job. So actually, Ukraine has compromised operational ability against Russia. So Ukraine's gone backwards, Russia has gone forwards. That's negotiation from America. Please God, if that's negotiation from America, don't let them get serious. Otherwise, we're really in trouble.
Right. Well, all right. Well, last question for tonight. But do you believe, sir, there is any viable way to achieve some sort of a ceasefire, really?
No. I mean, that's a short, sharp answer. No, not at the moment. I mean, if Russia goes for a ceasefire, then I think other people are in trouble, because it means they want to do something else. And the only thing that they would do, I mean, if they go for a ceasefire, it's a ceasefire to do a little something and then to break it and blame Ukraine.
Absolutely.
Which is exactly what they're doing already, and we haven't actually done anything. So, people don't understand that they are intent on getting back their position in they see it in the world order. And the fact that Trump offers or accepts them having an ice hockey match with a banned team, banned by everybody in America, the possibility of Putin, a war criminal, going to meet Trump in the USA, has them in ecstatic in Russia.
Yeah.
Because they think they're getting back in. Putin is getting back in despite the fact of killing, hundreds of thousands of people and murdering and raping and everything else, and he's being accepted. So they don't need a ceasefire. They're doing all right, nicely, thank you.
Right.
Sadly.
Well, sadly, it is. We'll see what happens next week, because every other week is like, oh my God, I thought the previous week was a nightmare. No.
Yeah, I thought the previous bit was mad. Right. The next bit, look out, we could get worse.
We could get worse, actually. So, it's just another bottom.
It could get worse.
Right. All right, Mr. Grant, thank you.
Bottom as well.
Yeah. Thank you so very much, and for your time and brilliant expertise, and hope to see you in person again in Kyiv and maybe have another beer. Thank you.
You will, and soon. I should be
Great.
contacting you.
Let me know. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will do. Okay, thank you very much. And we're going to win, mate. We're going to win. Just remember that.
Thank you. We will.
Good.
Slava Ukraini. Well, that was it for tonight. My name is Enrique, and we are UATV English, an English-speaking Ukrainian state media, in a constant persuasion to deliver hard truth in easy terms for you, for the whole free world, directly from Ukraine. In return, we ask, please like, share, and comment. Your voice matters, as it helps Ukrainian voice to be heard globally. Stay safe, and see you soon on The Weekly. Goodbye.